Look, I'm not here to just throw information at you. I'm here to enable you to train smarter, live stronger, and perform longer. This is where we talk about what it really takes to build capacity that lasts in the gym and in life. Welcome back to the Longevity Performance Podcast, where we break down training, performance, and purpose so you can build a body that lasts a lifetime. Now, we're talking about something every lifter, athlete, and weekend warrior has asked themselves at some point is, how strong is strong enough? Most people think about the number on the bar, but strength is really about your body's ability to handle force and do it over and over again without breaking down. It's easy to confuse visibility with value. We see clips of massive lifts online and start thinking that's what true strength really looks like. But strength that only exists for a highlight reel doesn't hold up when life gets heavy. Real strength is quieter. It shows up when you have to shovel snow at 6 a.m., move furniture, or even carry a tired kid off a field after a long day. What we often miss is that strength isn't supposed to impress anyone, it's supposed to serve you. The goal isn't to be the strongest person in the room, it's to be strong enough to do what matters most and do it for as long as you can. Let's start with the definition I use for strength, and it's not mine. It's one we use for longevity performance. And that is the capacity of an object or a substance to withstand a great force or pressure. That's what we're training for, is the ability to handle pressure without losing structure. When I work with new clients, the first thing I evaluate isn't how much weight they can move, but how well they can move it. I'm watching posture, control, and how their body organizes itself when the weight starts to challenge them. That's where real strength lives. If the structure can't hold the pressure, the system breaks down and it doesn't matter how much weight is on the bar. Strength isn't about the lift, it's about the posture and coordination that make that lift possible. Good posture isn't just standing tall, it's how you maintain integrity when things get heavy. Because strength without control doesn't hold up when it counts. It doesn't serve any real purpose. We tend to think of strength as just a physical trait, but it's a skill. Every rep is a small lesson in control, structure, and timing. That's why you can't separate strength from discipline. Both are learned through consistent exposure to manageable stress. I once had a guy in ROTC tell me he wanted to be in Special Forces, specifically the Rangers. He came in fired up, talking about his ruck times, train volume, and conditioning, the whole plan. I let him finish, and I listened, and then I asked him how he ended up getting referred to me in the first place. He said, I just got done with physical therapy for my low back. I tweaked it when I was just putting away a 50-pound dumbbell back in the rack. And I kind of sat there to myself just trying to maintain composure, and I told him respectfully, we need to stop worrying about special forces for a second and focus on being a strong, capable soldier first. You can't build elite performance on a fragile foundation. Before you can handle the chaos, you gotta be durable enough to handle the basics. We spent months reworking movement patterns, improving his hinge, and teaching him how to move with control instead of aggression. What he realized was that strength isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. Once he slowed down and focused his structure, everything else got quite a bit stronger. So how strong is strong enough? You should be strong enough to handle the forces of daily life, whether that's lifting your kids, hauling things, hiking, running, moving, and do it with ease without getting hurt. The big three, such as the squat, bench, and deadlift, are kind of like a Rosetta Stone of strength training movements. They're a common language of strength that coaches and athletes across different sports understand. So if you're not familiar with the Rosetta Stone, it was a tablet that was discovered to help decode languages by showing the same message written in 3 different languages. It gave people a way to connect separate systems and understand how they fit together. So the squat, bench, and deadlift work the same way. They connect different expressions of strength. No matter what sport or discipline you're in, those lifts give you a clear picture of how your body creates, transfers, and stabilizes force. Every strength coach uses them a little differently though. So TCU baseball, for example, uses the sumo deadlift to build posture, tension, and grip, all of which translate directly to better throwing mechanics and acceleration. Football programs often lean on the bench press not to build a big chest, but to teach athletes how to create power through full body tension, pressing through the ground, engaging the core, and transferring force through the hands. Firefighters or tactical athletes, the squat teaches them how to maintain structure while under load, to move smoothly, braced, and keep control when fatigue sets in. Me personally, I break strength into 3 levels, which are survive, provide, and thrive. So those of you following along on YouTube, you can look at the chart I have laid out that kind of show each one. So survive is about independence, being strong enough to live life on your own terms. It's the foundation of capability. Can you lift your own body weight, carry groceries, get up off the floor, or move throughout a full day without hesitation? That's your baseline. Strength at this level means you're not dependent on someone else to handle the basic demands of living. The next step is provide, where your strength starts to serve more than just you. It's about being able to shoulder a heavier load for someone else, to help a friend move, or to pick up a kid without strain. It's the kind of strength that lets you step up when someone else can't. Provide level strength represents reliability that others can depend on your capability. Thrive is where your strength becomes freedom. You can hike, lift, play, compete, or take on new challenges, not because you're trained for them, but because you've built the foundation to handle them. It's when strength stops being something you think about and starts being something you live through. That's where most people want to be, capable enough to say yes to anything that adds meaning to their life. The stronger you are, the more freedom you earn, but that also means learning where to draw the line between capable and consumed. Strength should enhance your life, not take away from it. So some of you may be looking at these numbers and think they're a little drastic when it comes to longevity, but in my mind, they actually correlate very well. So these are my numbers, but I did kind of loosely base them off a few different things I saw. So one of them being, when I did my master's program, I kind of went over some papers and saw that stepping off something as small as 7 inches onto the ground without jumping, you're just stepping off to it, you can hit the floor with as much as 2 times body weight. So if you think about that, if we are going to slip and fall in our day-to-day living, not only do you have to be fast enough to catch yourself, but you got to be strong enough to put up with those forces and allow your joints to be able to move freely and actually sustain the blow. Another thing you can look at is strengthlevel.com, where it's a bunch of self-reported numbers that lifters have put in over the years, and it kind of categorizes based on body weight, whether you're a beginner or an elite person. So as you can see, if you look down the list on that website, you would see the survive, thrive, and provide are kind of along those lines. And another post recently from Dr. Huberman, he went even a little more extreme than I did, where he was saying for firefighters at the pro level, you want to be able to deadlift 2 times your body weight for 5 reps with a trap bar. Now, we can get a little bit more into the contingencies of that, where trap bar may be easier for a lot of people to move weight because the mechanics of it and the leverages of it are very different from a straight bar. Either way, whether you're looking at the strength level or what Dr. Huberman said, strength is important, not only for just overall performance, but being able to maintain longevity. At some point, strength gives you more than just power. It gives you choice. The same way financial health buys you freedom, physical strength just buys you independence. It's the difference between retiring because you want to and retiring because your body forces you to. I've trained people who still move and work with ease well into their 50s, 60s, in some cases even 70s. Not because they were chasing big numbers, but because they never stopped training the basics. They built sustainable capability, the kind that doesn't fade when life slows down. It's the same story of the firefighter who still moves like he's in his 20s because he trained smart for 35 years. He didn't train for the next test. He trained for the next decade. That's what strong enough really means. Not being done, but being ready. Ready for work, ready for play, ready for whatever life hands you. Once you've built a solid foundation, the goal isn't to find your max, it's to keep pushing what genuinely challenges you. Strength isn't static. Research shows that your maximum output can fluctuate as much as 15 to 20% from day to day, depending on your sleep, nutrition, stress, and overall readiness. That means the weight you handled with ease last week might feel like a grind today, and that's normal. When you understand that, you stop chasing numbers and start paying attention to performance. Instead of testing your limits, you work within them, adjusting load and effort to meet your body in that day. That's not backing off, that's training with awareness. I've had days where I unracked the weight that should have moved easily, and it just didn't. Nothing hurt, I wasn't overtrained, but the bar speed wasn't there. That's when awareness matters more than pride. You learn to take what your body gives you that day and still make it productive. The people who last and train are the ones who stay patient, the ones who listen before the weight teaches the lesson the hard way. That's what sustainable strength looks like. Not perfection, just consistent, deliberate work. In my own training, I keep the heaviest work controlled and specific. Maybe 2 or 3 sets a week go above 80% of my best. Just enough to stay strong under heavy load, but not so much that it takes over my training. The rest of my week is filled with higher rep, accessory lifts, and movements that target my weak links before they turn into problems. That balance keeps strength useful. It supports everything else I want to do, inside and outside the gym. For most people, a 2.5 times bodyweight lift marks the upper end of general strength. You can get there with focused, consistent work and still have plenty of room left for conditioning, movement, and life outside the gym. Now, I said it was obtainable. I didn't say it was easy. Now, beyond that point, the work changes. You stop building general capacity and start chasing precision. Every extra pound takes more time, more technical control, and time management of your training. You start realizing that the stronger you get, the more discipline it takes to keep the strength useful. It's not impossible, but you have to ask yourself if it fits the bigger picture or not. When you go beyond that level, the goal shifts from developing to preserving it. You have to manage fatigue, movement quality, and attention to detail differently. It's less about how much weight you can lift once and more about how well you can keep moving day after day without breaking down. That's fine if you're a competitive lifter. That's part of the pursuit. But if your focus is capability and longevity, your time is often better spent applying your strength instead of constantly proving it. Being strong enough doesn't mean you stop improving. It means you redirect your focus. You maintain your base of strength while expanding your capabilities in other directions, such as mobility, endurance, speed, or skill. It's about having enough horsepower to do the work, but enough balance to enjoy it. Think of it like a well-built car. You can have all the horsepower in the world, but without the suspension, brakes, and steering to match it, it's not fun to drive. Strength is no different. You want the power, but you want to be able to control it and have stability that lets you actually use it. True strength isn't about how much you can lift. It's about what your body can withstand without breaking down. The barbell is just a tool. The goal is to move well, live well, and stay capable for as long as possible. Strength that lasts is built on patience, consistency, and respect for the process, not on chasing the heaviest weight in the room. So here's the takeaways. Train with purpose, build capability that enhances your life, and let strength reflect the way you live, not the way you compare. Physical strength doesn't exist in isolation. The same discipline that builds your body builds your patience, your focus, and your resilience. In training, we load the body so that the mind learns how to stay organized under pressure. And that carries over into your work, your family, and every decision you make when things get heavy. Being strong enough isn't just about the force, it's about balance, presence, and intent. That's why we train with purpose, because the weight in the gym prepares you for the weight of life. So next time, we're talking about I stress, you stress, and we all stress. How to recognize the different kinds of stress and train your body and mind to handle them the right way. Until next time, keep training with intent, and remember, train with purpose and perform for life.